Sunday, September 28, 1980 is a day that all of Adelaide will remember for the staging of the inaugural Bay to Birdwood Run. This biennial event is open to all historic motor vehicles built before 1950 and operated along similar lines to the famous London to Brighton run held in England. The Federation of Vintage Car Clubs of South Australia felt something was needed to stimulate the historic vehicle movement and to give the general public and the state government alike a chance to see the largest possible gathering of vehicles covering the early years of motoring in South Australia. A total of 669 vehicles enter the run, making it what we believe to be the largest single-day run held in the Southern Hemisphere. The figurehead for the run is the 1899 Shearer steam car, the third steam car to be built in Australia, and the 60-kilometre route was used by the Shearer back in 1900 when it drove from Mannum on the River Murray to Adelaide for an exhibition organised by the South Australian Chamber of Manufacturers. During the afternoon, after the vehicles arrived at the Birdwood Mill, the judging for the concours d'elegance was held. The $6,000 sterling silver perpetual trophy was awarded to the entrant who, in the opinion of the judging panel, represented the best combination of vehicle and costume of both driver and passengers. We made a program to record the event for posterity, so why not settle back and enjoy it now without the commercials, the 1980 inaugural Bay to Birdwood Run. September 1906, and in Adelaide, Dr. William Hargraves of Woodville was issued with Australia's first driving licence. It was a historic moment in Australian history, for the motor vehicle was to change the way all Australians lived. September 1980, and in Adelaide the inaugural Bay to Birdwood Run celebrates the moment when motoring became an official part of Australian history.
The car is a 1903 Humber called a Humberette. It's a single-cylinder car, 5 horsepower. It has a top speed of about 20 miles an hour, provided the weather conditions are good, on the flat, and about 3 mile an hour up hills. As it's about 30 mile to Birdwood, I figure it'll take me at least 2 hours. It does in the vicinity of 50 mile to the gallon, provided, again, weather conditions are good. It goes quite nicely. Hills don't bother it. In low gear, it'd climb a mountain.
got the car originally because a child life insurance policy matured that Mum and Dad had got me. And rather than waste the money, I always liked building gear and doing things, so I was interested in old cars. I just liked the look of them, was just generally interested in them. So I, after some running around, one of the apprentices at work put me onto an old car, and it turned out it was a Chevy, but I was more interested in a Ford T because that, to me, was an old car. After a month's persuasion with a chappie down Torrensville, I managed to get one, and I brought it home, and it's taken me 9 years to get to this stage. It's only been 9 years off and on working, but the last, since March, I've got into it solidly, mainly because of the Bay to Birdwood Run. The cost has been not exactly cheap, but then I haven't kept a run on it of the cost, because had I done that, I wouldn't have finished it. I would have thought it was getting out of hand, and maybe when you get a little bit despondent with the work, you think maybe the cost is not warranted to restore the car. And when you get to this stage, you think, well, you know, you can pretty well have a go at anything, and because you can see a finished result. Whereas when you start, you've always got your doubts. You look at other people's cars, and trying to attain the standards, I found, was a bit difficult, because you're always really critical of your own work, whereas when you look at someone else's, you take it just as a general overall look, and you think, gee, that's a great car, and you don't know the faults in it, but with your own, you know the faults, and it can sort of detract from your confidence to restore it. But when you get to this stage, you think, gee, well, that wasn't so hard, I don't know what to complain about, and you think, well, you know, another one, I know the pitfalls of it now, and if I did one, say, the same type of car, a Ford T, but an earlier model, you know, you say, well, gee, maybe I can get into it and knock it off quicker.
While some people will spend from 5 to 8 years on one restoration, Colin Cartwright is one man who has finally let an obsessive hobby become an active livelihood.